Hey, sports fans, welcome to this week's episode of EBC Sports International. I'm Michael Hudson, coming at you from the Emerald City in Seattle, Washington. Thanks for joining us this week, and we hope you are staying safe and continuing to do your part during these interesting times. Before we get any further, I would like to introduce to all of you my wonderful sports panelists tonight. We're going to start in Washington, D.C., Ken LeBron James Cruz.
LeBron James.
Also from Toronto, Canada, we have Adian Air Canada Jr. Pangilinan.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And last but not least, we have Zarita, Mrs. Raptor Say from Toronto, Canada as well.
I almost didn't come on because I was heartbroken, but that Clippers loss revived me.
2-3 Cancun.
True that. Well, hey, everybody, if this is your first time joining our program, the way it works is that all of us share our humble opinions about the various topics in sports. We are by no means sports experts, but we all love the world of sports very much. So we hope you guys enjoy what we have in store for you today. So before we jump into our main topics of discussion, here are some updates that have been circulating the sports world this week. From the world of Major League Baseball, Zarita has the latest news. What's going on, Z?
So we all know the return of baseball was a little bit bumpy in the beginning, but with the playoffs just around the corner, MLB will be following the lead of other successful leagues. So they've actually confirmed that they will move forward with a bubble-style setting for the World Series, and it'll be the first time in modern-day baseball history where it will actually occur on a neutral site. So, for example, the American League Division games will be played in Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles and Petco Park in San Diego. For the National League, their two sites will be the Rangers' home field of Globe Life Field in Arlington and Astros' home Minute Maid Park in Houston. From there, the league champions from each division would then meet in Arlington for the World Series, which is scheduled in October.
Awesome. Next up, Ken shares with us some NBA front office news in Golden State. What's good, Ken?
Yeah, so just as the Warriors look to renew their championship ambitions around a now veteran trio of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, this week they announced that Sean Livingston and Leandro Barbosa will be returning to the Warriors organization. This time, though, Barbosa will be part of Steve Kerr's coaching staff. Kerr described Barbosa, who will be a player, mentor, coach, as not only a fan favorite, but also a, quote, favorite in the locker room, adding, as he is excited to add him to the staff and to see him help mentor our young players and will be out on the floor with them, end quote. So as for Livingston, who spent some time over the last year taking a Harvard sports business course, he'll take on what he called a hybrid role in the Warriors front office as the director of team affairs and player engagement. Kerr called him one of the rocks of their foundation in Golden State over the last 6 years. What he adds to the front office is leadership and ability to communicate. Drawing on all that experience, Kerr added, quote, "I'm looking forward to Sean being a mentor for our younger players because Sean saw it all as a player," end quote. Back to you, Mike.
Appreciate it, Ken. So going back to Zarita, she has some more NBA news for us. What's going on, Z?
Yes. So with my beloved Raptors, after a historic 2 years as head coach, including, of course, winning the NBA championship in his first year of coaching, the Toronto Raptors have signed Nick Nurse to a multi-year extension. I think the details of the actual signing are unknown at this time. The reigning NBA Coach of the Year has already achieved many accolades in his short tenure as head coach of the Toronto Raptors, one of them being holding the record for the most playoff wins in the playoffs in franchise history. So Nick Nurse, as you know, has a coaching journey that is not very usual. He's seen success all over the world, for example, winning the English Cup, Belgian Cup, and he's a two-time NBA D-League champion, and of course, an NBA champion. Although reigning champions left the bubble in a close Game 7 against the Boston Celtics, Nick Nurse is set to be on the bench for the Raptors for many years to come, and now the organization has to zero in on two key members of the front office like Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri. So that's it for now.
Appreciate it, Zarita. And lastly, we have some news from Winged Foot Golf Course in New York City where Tiger Woods is currently competing for his 16th PGA Major win. So right now, Tiger did pretty well in the first round, shooting 3 over par on one of the toughest golf courses in the entire world. I mean, this place is known for its hilly and very fast greens. And so the positive note after the first round is that Tiger putted pretty well. However, today, things took the turn for the worse, and the second round didn't go so hot for Mr. Woods, who shot an abysmal 8 over par, which brought him overall to 11 over par overall. So because of this, he's not going to make the cut and move on to play during the next weekend. So he is slated to play next week in a charitable event with Justin Thomas, Justin Rose, and Rory McIlroy. So even though he's the greatest of all time, it's still a tough pill to swallow when he doesn't play well in a major tour major. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, and we will get right into our friendly discussions. EBC Sports International will return after this.
$2 million ito. Paano ba sumayaw ng presyong 2 million?
I think never stop learning.
Hindi ko masyadong naramdaman kung ano yung gusto mong iparating sa amin.
If you dance parang last mo na.
Congratulations dahil magpapatuloy ka sa laban para sa Grand Five.
Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 is co-presented by Cooper, an expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Our sponsors, BDO, we find ways. JRC Industrial Sales, RS Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. RJK Services Manpower Agency Corporation, Robes Builders, Villa Casares, Chris Rack Enterprises, Victory Carpentry, DOP Asiatic Pest Control Services, and AUB Aspire for the Future in partnership with New Era University ETAP, Expanded Tertiary Education, Equivalency and Accreditation Program. Embrace Cafe, we embrace differently abled persons.
Hello there, I'm Alfred, and I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, batch of 2008 in New Era University. I'm currently working as an operations analyst in Autodesk.
Hi, I'm Earl Escanio, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science in 2010. I am a consultant at Trinity Consulting, LLC.
Hi, I'm Ivy Macapagal, Bachelor's in Computer Science graduate, year 2010. I'm currently working as a cybersecurity analyst in one of the largest telco here in New Zealand, Coast Park, NZ.
I'm Jofran David Riego, a BS Computer Science graduate here in 15. As a legal analyst, I am tasked to read U.S. cases, specifically civil torts cases.
I am Melanie Rico Hermosa P, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science graduate, year 2006.
I'm currently a software quality assurance engineer at FBI Systems here in Maryland, United States.
I'm Renzo Cruz. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Science, year 2012. I'm currently working abroad, and I'm working as a senior cybersecurity consultant who specializes in digital forensics and incident response. And I am part of a national security in one of the countries here in the Middle East.
I am inviting everyone to study at New Era University to legit true grit.
Be brilliant in the new era.
Study now at New Era University.
Excellence,
Discipline,
Service to humanity.
Welcome back, everyone. You are watching EBC Sports International. With the NBA playoffs continuing, we have entered the Final Four as the Miami Heat take on the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Denver Nuggets are pitted against the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. The Western Conference Finals matchup is quite surprising due to the fact that many thought that the Los Angeles Clippers would be in it devastatingly in the previous round to the Denver Nuggets in 7 games in what is considered one of the greatest collapses in NBA history. With that being said, we have our Final Four. Adrian, we'll start with you. We'll let you kick things off. Who wins each conference final and why?
In the West, I'm going to go with the Lakers. Lakers in 6. But if it goes 7, we all know who's going to win that. The Lakers just have no answer. Or sorry, rather, the Nuggets have no answer for LeBron. They got a lot of guys they could throw at him. Michael Porter Jr., Jeremy Grant, Gary Harris, Paul Millsap, just a bunch of guys that are kind of meant to guard that type of player. But LeBron is in conversation for greatest of all time. I just don't see how the Nuggets have enough experience and talent to overtake him. It's a nice matchup to watch. I think it'll still be a very entertaining series because you got 2 of the best big men, if not the 2 best big men in the league, in Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic. But at the same time, I wouldn't count the Nuggets out. They just keep defying the odds. They've come back from 2 3-1 deficits in a row. It's never been done. And Jamal Murray has just been playing outstanding. But as a Canadian, I gotta root for him as best as possible.
So as far as how about the Eastern Conference? Who do you have?
With the East, I'm going to go Celtics in 7.
Ooh,
as of today, they are down 2-0 to the Miami Heat, but I just feel like they have what it takes to get over the top. Their offense hasn't shown what it's fully capable of. We got Jason Tatum, who hasn't really stepped into the role I think he's capable of. I just feel like he can go off at any moment, and maybe Game 3 will be that day.
Gotcha. So, so as far as the Celtics and the Lakers, what do they need to do to win their series? What do you think the key things that they have to do?
For the Lakers, they got to limit all of the role players if they can. Put big bodies on Jokic, try to slow him down. It's hard to see that happening. For the Nuggets, if you can take out AD, from what I've seen when the Raptors have played the Lakers, they've been able to throw double teams at him. If the Nuggets can do anything to slow down Anthony Davis and then just kind of hang with LeBron, they give themselves a chance because their offense takes care of itself. In the East, Miami has already shown that their zone defense has been the X factor in this series. They've been shutting down the Boston offense in the fourth quarters. But I do think that Brad Stevens is a better coach right now than Eric Spoelstra, and he might have the edge and he might make the necessary adjustments to actually win the series. I still feel confident in the Celtics' chances.
Gotcha. Ken, before you share your thoughts, you can go ahead and take your moments of gloating for
I will not be silenced, Mike. I will not be silenced. Oh, my goodness.
The floor is yours.
I've waited all week for this. I mean, it's one of those things where, our neighbors over in the Clippers, right, have said so many things, have done so many things, and it's one of those sweet justices in the world where I slept like a baby that night. I've been having trouble sleeping up until the Clippers lost, and up until that Game 7 loss, I slept like a baby. I felt great. I felt refreshed, and now I'm ready to talk. The craziest thing is that Clippers, they acted like they were owed a championship. On paper they had the deepest team. The in-your-face personalities were, weirdly enough, from their role players, and then the submissive, reserved personalities were from the superstars. That's not going to get it done, right? The funny thing is, after that Game 7 loss and debacle, right, PG claimed it wasn't a championship or bust year, but everyone, including him earlier in the year, his teammates all said, and the rest of the NBA, they said, this is championship or bust, right? So both PG and Kawhi, superstars, best perimeter defenders, and supposedly offensive guys in the league, held to 0 in the fourth quarter. It's funny, all these memes, right? These guys are huge Kobe fans. They did a Kobe tribute, 24 points total from the both of them for Game 7. This is, that side of the backboard shot from PG. That's when you knew it was absolutely done. The Reddit, which I frequent a lot. You know how there's subreddits, right? There's NBA, there's Lakers. Clippers subreddit, they blocked the entire subreddit with 2 minutes left to go in the game because they knew that they were just going to get, thrashed. And so that's what happened here. It was extremely crazy to see, like, even their 6th men of the year, right? Sweet Lou Williams, Sweet Chicken Lou Williams, whatever his nickname is, and Montrezl Harrell, those guys were exposed the entire series on defense, right? I mean, Harrell being an undersized big, Sweet Lou being a small guy. They were, especially Jokic, he just took advantage of that dude. Whenever Harrell was on him, he made sure to go at him. I mean, here's what I have to say, though. Yes, Clippers, they lost 3-1. Doc Rivers, this is the 3rd time that's happened. I don't think he's going to stay in the organization. I think, he's probably going to go, I'm guessing Philadelphia. That's my guess. But I think Nuggets, if anything, doing this 2 times in a row, first team to ever do that, coming back from 3-1. That is something that you have to, if you had to, Jokic and Murray put in legendary performances, and right now they're struggling against a well-rested Lakers. But just remember this: the Lakers did beat the Nuggets 3 times and lost once during the regular season. So this might be bad tidings for the Lakers. They might go 0-4. I don't know. I mean, these Nuggets love 3-1 for some reason. So I'm a little wary. Unless the Lakers are up by 25 in a game, I think the Nuggets can potentially come back. But what I can say, though, is what happened last year. Even though Jokic lost 50 pounds this year, before coming back into the bubble, last year in the playoffs, he was dead during Game 7 against the Trailblazers. He was pretty much out of condition, and I think that's what's going to happen here. 3 Laker bigs are going to just beat him up, and then by the time it's Game 4, Game 5, Game 6, whatever it is, I think he's just he's going to be done because they play every other day. So.
Okay, how about the Eastern Conference?
Oh, Eastern Conference? Oh, man. I mean, I honestly want this to be Game 7, and I want it to be Lakers-Celtics just because, it would be the best way to get the Lakers to get their 17th championship would be against their, longtime rivals of Boston. But, man, Jimmy Buckets is looking really nice right now, and his team is extremely confident, and it is scary. Honestly, even them going against the Lakers right now, that's a toss-up just because of how well and how confident that Miami Heat team is. I'm seriously worried. I want the Boston Celtics because they're inexperienced. Coach Spoelstra is an experienced winner, and with Pat Riley being in the bubble too, I think this Miami Heat team is not even a dark horse. They're kind of a favorite. In my eyes.
Definitely. So who do you think the X factor is in each conference final?
I'll make it quick. So X factor for this for the Western has to be Michael Porter Jr. If he's able to turn it on offensively and potentially even a little bit of defense, I think that 3rd star will definitely help them in keeping in games and potentially winning games. And for the Eastern, I think it has to be Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, no, it has to be Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker has struggled. I think he's like 20% shooting on the field. Like the dude they're using his size against him. And so if he doesn't turn it on, at least offensively, it's going to be a very short series for the Celtics.
Gotcha. So, okay, Zarita, your turn. I know you told me you wanted to do your little gloat session as well for the Clippers downfall, so you can go ahead and do that and share with your picks.
Ken pretty much said everything anyone else has to say, but I think when you talk to everybody, including Raptor fans, it's just sweet revenge, right? Like, we see Kawhi walk away because he didn't think that we were good enough to win again. Well, look what happens. We exit the same exact round. You don't think you have an experienced coach. Everyone is saying Kawhi thought he needed a doctor, but actually he needed a nurse, which I thought was great. But I think one of the biggest downfall for the Clippers was they thought they were going to win just based on their talent, and they played like it. There was one tweet that said, Nuggets played like they had everything to lose, and Clippers played like they were never going to lose. So you see the way they carried themselves. And like I said to you guys offline, just their post-game interview, you could see that it was never like Denver's one heck of a team. They played great. They just wanted it more. It was our conditioning. It was our chemistry. It was this. It was that. It was everything, but they just played poorly. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And I think for this series, as much as I want to see a Denver-Miami finals, I just don't think that they're going to have luck on their side again for the third time in a row. And you're playing against LeBron in the playoffs, who seems like he's on a different level, if we can even say that, this far in his career. So I think it's going to be Lakers. Maybe Denver can take it 6 games, but I think it will be the Lakers. As for the East, I'm a big Miami fan, especially Jimmy Butler, so I want to see them come out of this. Plus, Boston beat my Raptors, so I want to see Miami out of there, especially for Spoelstra, too. I think he's a great coach. And for the X Factors, I'm actually going to say maybe Marcus Smart for Boston.
Nice.
He's kind of a streaky shooter, so he played really. Yeah, he played really well against the Raptors, which I absolutely hated. But if he can get his offense going, that takes a lot off Tatum and Brown, who pretty much carries them most of the time. So if he can get going, I think it'll be a good series. As for West, I'm going to agree with Ken and say Michael Porter Jr. again, because Denver's so limited in who they have against the Lakers that any help at this point is needed.
Absolutely, and I think it's safe to say that any matchup in the finals would be a pretty good matchup because the four of these teams are pretty dynamic as far as what they can do on the basketball court.
Mike, who do you have?
Was that?
Who do you have, Mike?
I have Miami against LA.
Nice.
That's my pick. I think it'd be interesting to see LeBron play against his old team because that's where he first won his championship. So it'd be a pretty good storyline. So, so yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. But with that being said, we'll move on to the next topic. We're going to stay with the NBA, and as far as we know, all NBA teams were revealed just a few days ago. The first team was LeBron, Anthony Davis, James Harden, Luka, and Giannis. Second team was Dame Lillard, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, Pascal Siakam, and Jokic. And the third team was Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, Rudy Gobert, Russell Westbrook, and Ben Simmons. So, Ken, did you disagree with this list?
I think it's a pretty solid list. I would probably move Jason Tatum to the second team, Chris Paul to the third team, and then I would. It's hard saying this now. I mean, especially with everything that's happened, but I would still put Kawhi Leonard as first team.
Over who?
Over.
Has to be over Harden,
tough, right? I mean, like I would still put him over Luka Doncic, but I mean that's that's it. I love me some Luka. I don't disagree with the fact that he's in the first team, but Kawhi is Kawhi until this last. I mean, we're not talking playoffs, right? I mean, what doesn't go with what keeps Kawhi in that second, maybe even potentially third team is the fact that they rested him so much. Not being on the court isn't going to get you your votes. It's like what happened with Zion, not getting the Rookie of the Year. He just wasn't on the court. Well, I mean, I don't even know. Like, if Zion played the entire season and Ja Morant still played like that, I mean, that it would still be a kind of a toss-up, unless, and then again, NBA and all these voters, they go off of narratives, right? That's all it is. But I mean, I think with this specific list, I'm not too mad. What I can say though is that Rudy Gobert has been a little overrated the last few years. I think he's kind of exposed, especially offensively. I think here's my take on all of this. I think this should be positionless votes. And who was it? I think it was who was it? Pascal Siakam. I think he was a victim of being voted as a guard and a forward, and so that split up his votes. And I think he could have potentially been on first team or something like that. But I think the way that, especially with the way that basketball is now, where it's like a lot of it's positionless, even the All-Star votes, I think they should move towards that with the All-NBA. No one's a true center anymore, really. I mean, there's only like 4 or 5 guys. Even Anthony Davis plays more during the season. So I think my suggestion would be to just give me the top 15 players in the league, 1, 2, 3, first, second per team.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. For me, I think Westbrook and Rudy Gobert definitely should not even be there. I mean, you have Murray, you have I can't think at the top of my head right now, but Murray, it was glaring. I thought he definitely should have been on one of those 3 teams. Yeah, he didn't play as well in the regular season, but that's why these awards are kind of wonky to me, because I think they should take into fact the playoffs as well. But
agreed.
It's been 3 years. Zarita, what were your thoughts?
Pretty much, again, everything Ken said.
Are we sharing notes, Zarita?
Well, you're on point today, Ken. No, it's the first time in a while that I haven't been like completely upset with the listing. It's just hard for me to actually remember these guys prior to March 11th or whatever we're basing this off of. Because I feel like that's a completely different season. And yeah, of course, when we watch Jamal Murray now, when we watch Rudy Gobert up against Denver, we're going to say that. But I'm sure they played well in March and the beginning of the season. But again, I'm not mad at the list. There's no one that jumps out at me, except for Bradley Beal, who's actually been pretty vocal on Twitter that he got snubbed yet again.
Right, that was a great call.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. It was those 2, Murray and then Bradley Beal.
He always gets snubbed for everything. And,
no, what is he? But again, he averaged what, 30 and 7?
30 and 6 or something.
First player ever not to be on an All-NBA team.
But if they did like an All-NBA or All-Bubble team, then I think it'll be a little bit more accurate and people can actually remember who's playing.
Yeah, totally. Aiden, how about you, my man?
I feel the same way just about the voting. I think there's a lot of victims to how they're like positioned and how they're voted for. It's a shame that there's only 3 centers, and then you have 6 forwards and 6 guards that make the 3 teams. Joel Embiid is one of the guys that I thought he had a good season. I think he played better than Ben Simmons, but because Ben Simmons can be voted in as a guard, Joel Embiid's not going to make the team. So I'm not like too upset about it like you guys, but I think Chris Middleton from the Milwaukee Bucks, he definitely deserved some more love than, let's say, Russell Westbrook. Like we take for granted the fact that the Bucks were the best team in the regular season, and just because they didn't perform in the bubble, they take points from that. I know that the voting was based on just whatever happened before March, but I'm surprised he didn't make a team. And of course, Bradley Beal. I guess I can see the argument. He was the only player amongst all these 15 on the All-NBA teams that didn't make the playoffs, and so maybe you can dock him points for that. He's been putting up big stats for a losing team, which maybe is easier said than done, but I think when you get every possession and you get to handle the ball all the time, your stats are going to go up a little bit. Am I wrong to say that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had the pleasure to see him live. That dude he was lights out this year. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. But I mean, just actually seeing him live, like that dude was controlling games on a bad team.
Right, exactly. So,
Will Wagner's their starting center. Come on,
Yeah. So when we return, we will stay with the NBA as all rookie teams were also revealed. We'll also share our thoughts on the NFL's opening weekend. EBC Sports International will be right back.
Do you want to earn a degree while you work? New Era University now offers Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP. ETIAP is an educational scheme that recognizes knowledge, skills, and prior learning obtained by individuals from non-formal and informal education experiences. It is implemented through deputized higher educational institutions like the New Era University that awards the appropriate degrees. Programs offered are the following: Master's Program, Masters of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management, Master's Program in Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Mass Communication, Bachelor of Science in Education, major in Filipino, major in English, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with majors in Human Resources Development, Marketing Management, and Financial Management. Beneficiaries must be Filipinos who have attained at least high school level of education. The program is flexible and you don't need to attend regular classes. Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP, is under the supervision of Dr. Nilo L. Rosas, the University President, and Professor Anita P. Santos, Director of ETIAP. For more information, contact the following: Cristina Moreno, 0995-138-0786, or email cvmoreno@neu.edu.ph, or Arlene Sarmiento, 0906-298-9150, or email cedctl@neu.edu.ph. What are you waiting for? Let New Era University be your partner in achieving your dreams.
Welcome back to EBC Sports International. I'm Michael Hudson. Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to stay with the NBA once again as they also revealed the All-NBA rookie teams for the 2019-2020 season. Ja Morant and Zion Williamson headlined the first team, as well as Kendrick Nunn of the Miami Heat, Brandon Clark of the Memphis Grizzlies, and Eric Paschall for the Golden State Warriors. And the second team was led by Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat, Terrence Davis Jr. of the Raptors, Kobe White of the Chicago Bulls, P.J. Washington Jr. of the Charlotte Hornets, and Gonzaga native Rui Hachimura of the Washington Wizards. So I just wanted to get your guys' initial thoughts on those teams. Do you guys agree, disagree? Any changes at all?
I think it looked about right. I mean, especially that first team. Any rookie list without Ja Morant or Zion on it would have caused uproar. Even though Zion only played a few games, I mean, it was one of those things. I think they just had to put him on there. But I think Tyler Hero is the truth.
He's becoming my favorite player.
Yeah, I honestly think. He is. The way that his headspace is, I think he's playing like way beyond his rookie years, and I think this exposure in the deep in the playoffs is going to help boost him past any of these guys on the first team. I mean, other than his teammate, but I mean, like, one of those things where I think he looks good, he plays good, and I think with Jimmy Butler, like, talking in his ear, like, the whole time, telling him to shoot the ball, take it in. I think that is amazing experience for a rookie shooter. And, he is playing lights out right now.
Absolutely. So,
and I think, the fact that he's with an organization like the Miami Heat, anyone that you put in a system that knows how to harvest their players, especially in their rookie year, is going to succeed, and they're going to see long-term success. So, Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, even with Golden State Warriors, because it's so ingrained in their system of that winning mentality. I think already you're on a good start, and I think that's why you see a guy like Terrence Davis Jr., who with the Raptors, they go deep into their G League teams, and as long as you can start that confidence early on, with Tyler Hero is a great example of that. You're going to see success no matter where they go, because they're going to carry it with them.
Definitely. So, Zarita.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Adrian.
The only bone I got to pick with the teams is, how is RJ Barrett not on one of those teams?
Oh, that's true.
Good point.
I don't think they play that well, though. Plus, you're on the Knicks.
the Knicks being Knicks.
It's like a double whammy.
Losing is hard, but he still balled. He played hard for a team that was going nowhere really fast.
Yeah. I mean, I think. What's hard too? It's kind of the opposite of Zion. Zion, was hurt before he came in, and then did his thing. Barrett played the beginning, got a little bit hurt for right before the bubble, and then I think that didn't help him at all. But honestly, I think he just got forgotten.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he didn't get a lot of votes.
He just didn't put up eye-popping numbers. I think that was the only thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in a bad team. I mean, that's it's a bad team, bad coach, bad organization, and
bad
he was just he was set up. He was set up, right? I mean, imagine Barrett in Miami Heat. Can you imagine that? Like the guy would have been first team and potentially like an all-star or something, or if he was on the Lakers or some big team that could have developed him. I feel bad for the guy because, it might change this next year, but unless they get rid of their
rookies, who won't have rookies for a while? The Clippers. That's
we're not going to be talking about
2027
rookies for a while.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you guys kind of just like a lightning round of questions, and you guys just give me your best answer out of these rookies. So Michael Porter's out of it. We all know he's going to be a big star, but he's out of this because he's not on the all-rookie teams, okay? So first question is, who do you think has the brightest future out of all these players on the all-rookie teans?
I think if Zion, if Zion keeps his knees, I think it's definitely going to be Zion.
Okay.
And if he develops a more consistent jumper, it has to be him. The guy is explosive. He rebounds like an animal. And I think he has a good feel for the game. I think his future, right?
Brightest future, yeah.
Brightest future as in rings or most decorated? Because I can see Zion being most decorated.
Legacy will remember him like 30 years from now after they retire.
I think if Zion doesn't develop a jumper, he might take the D Rose route, right? I mean, he walks strange. If you watch, this is his walk. He walks like he walks like he's 60 years old. And so I don't think the only way that I think he extends his career is if he has a reliable jumper that can help him stay off just jumping the whole time. Because
definitely
not Ja Morant for sure.
All right, so next two questions. Just say the name, guys. Just say the name. No.
Be lightning. All right, got you.
So who wins the MVP first out of this group?
Zion.
Yeah. Ja Morant. Okay. Who has who wins the championship first? Who wins the championship?
It has to be the Heat guys for sure.
Tyler Hero, huh? Oh yeah, none.
This year,
might have been big this year. I don't know, man.
And who has the greatest overall career? Like a career that's just like, man, he's probably like in a conversation for like probably top 10 all time or something like that.
Yeah, because of Zion, I say Ja Morant.
Ja Morant, though.
Zarita?
I said Zion.
Ja Morant. Okay, cool. All right. Well, hey, this is definitely the future. A lot of the rookies nowadays are just, they're NBA ready right off the bat. So I'm pretty excited to see what happens in the future. So we're moving on to the NFL. The opening weekend closed last week, and there were many new faces in different places, like Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, Cam Newton in New England, and Super Bowl defending champions Kansas City Chiefs continued their dominating ways, and the Cleveland Browns are still the Cleveland Browns. So, Ken, what was the biggest takeaway for you for NFL opening weekend?
Well, I mean, being a little biased, I love that Hollywood Ramsey is an Oscar-worthy actor. With that clutch OPI call, offensive pass interference call, helped the Rams get that 2017 victory over the Cowboys. He just signed that contract, and so that I think that was a big takeaway, is that he's earning his checks. I think Aaron Rodgers, knowing that Jordan Love is like looking to get his spot, is playing his heart out, and I think it's his revival, right? I think it was 364 yards with 4 touchdowns. That looked great. I think the Washington football team is a horrible name, but they're atop the NFC East, strangely enough. And Tom Brady looked like an old guy, at least for, it's hard to say, right? It's his first game. There was obvious miscommunication, and it was one of those things where I think it's just going to develop. And it looked like Gronk didn't even want to be there. That was really weird to see. He was blocking properly, but he looked like he was running his routes at like 30%. And I think not having preseason games and full training camp, that's probably what did them in. And I think as the season goes, hopefully it doesn't take them like 5-6 games, because that'll be too late. But I think the Bucs with Tom Brady did not look good. And then lastly, your Seahawks looks extremely scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those guys are an early Super Bowl favorite for me. Sadly to say.
I can't wait to have my own block when the Seahawks win it all. Let's go. Idiot, what are your thoughts?
I caught a couple games on the Sunday. Patrick Mahomes, of course, he's going to look like the title favorite, and he might bring that team another Super Bowl. Who knows? But the big teams that I was watching out for are the Bills, just because that's kind of Toronto's team, just because of proximity. I like Josh Allen, and I like the team and how they made a pretty decent playoff push last season. And if there's one guy I think that'll bounce back from last season's last playoffs, that's Lamar Jackson. I do think he has a big year in store with the Ravens. I expect them to be Super Bowl champions. Not to spoil anything, but I think they have a pretty strong team, and their offense looked that way. And maybe the only other team I might have a thought on is Cam Newton and the Patriots. I know he's not a fan favorite, but it's good to see him resurrect his career, kind of get things back going. If he's not the comeback player of the year, I'd be a little bit surprised.
Really? Wow. Comeback player of the year. You heard it here first, everybody.
That's not a crazy take. I mean, it's Cam Newton in New England.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think one game is really to tell, especially when he just ran. I mean, he has no receivers, hasn't thrown any touchdowns yet. I mean, when he starts doing that, then maybe, yeah. We'll see.
What's hard is he might get exposed this week against you guys.
Oh, yeah, he is. Because we played him many times. Oh, go ahead, Ian. I'm sorry to cut you off.
A lot of teams are going to get exposed to the Seahawks. They look scary.
Yeah.
They sure do.
Can we hear you talk about the Seahawks? I want to hear you talk about them.
Don't worry, he will, and he has.
Oh, man. We're running low on time here. I wanted to hear your
on football? Football's on right now? No, I'm just kidding. No, my husband's trying so hard to get me to watch football, so I'm trying. He's a Seahawks fan, so I'm sure I'll have something to say by the end of the
Awesome choice.
What brought that? The proximity is not like.
We're NBA champions, so we got to go to winning teams, you know?
There we go. But hey, we're going to continue with our NFL conversation after this short break. We will continue this and also enter our question of the show. This is EBC Sports International. We'll be right back. everybody. Welcome back to EBC Sports International. We are continuing our talk with the NFL. So we will enter week 2. Wanted to get your guys' take on what you're looking forward to most this second week. Adian, we'll start with you.
What I'm looking forward to the most is another Ravens win, another Bills win, another Green Bay Packers win, and a lot of competitive football. I'm not a football expert, but I watch from time to time. I'm more interested in hearing what you guys have got to say.
Hey, I think those are pretty secure wins. Those 3 teams you just mentioned. Ken, how about you, my man?
Well, I mean, I'm always going to say Rams, right? The Rams-Eagles matchup is always a good matchup. I think that the Eagles fell face first against Washington last week, so I know they'll be coming out hard. And especially Aaron Donald. I think he didn't have any sacks last week, and the guy's a sack machine. So 0 sacks, 1 tackle. So I think he's gonna come after Carson Wentz. And he was sacked.
Wait, I'm gonna cut you off, Ken. Did you remember the video I sent you of Aaron Donald picking up?
Well, I mean, you know what's crazy too is that he's going against an inexperienced second-year player. I think the guy's name is like Herbig or something like that.
Yeah.
And Wentz was sacked 8 times last week, which is the most in the entire NFL. So I think this is if anyone's gonna get some sacks, it has to be Aaron Donald, especially the way they double and triple team him like that. It's so crazy to me that NFL teams have to do that with just a guy of Donald's size, and I love the fact that he's a Ram, and I know that it's a pick'em for these two, and I think it's slightly to Philadelphia's favor, but I feel defense is gonna win the game for the Rams. And then as far as what matchup I'm looking forward to, it's probably the Falcons versus Cowboys. I have a soft spot for Todd Gurley, so I'm hoping that he does well. But I think the Cowboys. They're America's team, right? I mean, I just have to keep watching these games. I think they'll bounce back after losing to the Rams last week, and then they'll get that W. And then obviously I'm going to be watching the Seattle game versus New England. I mean that's going to be that's must watch TV. Unless the Seahawks, which highly possible, can break open the game like in the first half. Could probably go up 28-7, like, or 28-3, like really quick. Yes. I would not be surprised, and then I'll just change the channel. But I mean, I feel like that's if that game goes close, those guys, those coaches, like, love matching up against one another, and I think if it's a nice close game, it might be an instant classic.
Oh, absolutely. And I think to add on to that, I'm really interested to see how Brady responds to his last game. I know that he struggled, learning a new system, and Bruce Arians, kind of called him out in the media earlier this week, basically saying that he made some pretty bad decisions. So I'm interested to see how he bounced back because, he hasn't really faced this type of adversity before, do
you think it's age and wear and tear, or do you think it's just not knowing his team and being in a new offense?
I want to say 20% is age and wear and tear, and 80% is like getting to know, because I think when you're so used to a system for 20 years, you're so used to playing a lot more conservatively compared to Bruce Arians' system, which is like pushing the ball up and down the field like the whole entire game. And so Brady's not, I guess, accustomed to playing that type of style. So I think that's what's really. So I mean, he's in his head right now. I think he's just really in his head with all the new
which is
system.
so weird. Yeah, which is so weird to say about Tom Brady, right? Who's like cool and calm, cool, collected, right? But I mean, like if there's any time for that, it's with a new team in a shortened season with no true training camp and no preseason. This is unprecedented times for literally the GOAT.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, like what you said, Seattle against the Patriots. That's Sunday night game, going to be in Seattle. Granted, we won't have any fans because we're still.
What's your spread
for Seattle and New England?
Yeah,
I think they're minus. No,
what's your spread? What's your spread?
Oh, my spread. I think I have Seattle winning 35-10. It's gonna be a blowout, dude. Because I think
that's a statement in the background while you're doing some work, preparing for your Monday morning, right? I mean,
yeah. Because we played Cam Newton before, so we know his tendencies. I feel Patriots don't have any receivers that can separate against our secondary, especially with Jamal Adams there from the New York Jets, who was an absolute beast last game. I mean, that was a huge acquisition we picked up, and then Russell is he's just doing Russell things, just playing extremely well. So
that guy's insane, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's so good, and he's still underrated. Just
like you're scared of Russell, I'm scared of Aaron Donald. It's like every time I see him, I'm just like, oh man, because he always sacks Russell every time.
Well, he's one of the few guys that's able to. I mean, that O-line that Seattle has.
Out of curiosity, are fans not allowed? Because I thought I saw a couple of games with fans.
I think there's only 2 stadiums. I think Kansas City and
Kansas City?
The other one.
Okay, that's the one I saw.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. They got to keep those pools full.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I gave you Super Bowl tickets and the Seahawks are in it, would you go?
Oh, absolutely. I would just. I mean,
especially now.
Would you put on a hazmat suit?
Yeah, Tampa Bay. We're going. My friend and I already booked their tickets to Tampa Bay, so we'll be heading down there.
How many games are there this season?
What's that?
How many games are there this season?
There's 16 still, just like usual. Oh, no, actually, there's 17. I'm sorry, they added one extra game this year.
Yeah, because there's no preseason.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not. Is it a shortened season?
No shortened season. They added one extra game and then one extra playoff spot. So there's another wild card that's added this year. So we'll see.
That I love.
But speaking of Tampa Bay, which is where the Super Bowl is going to be held, that leads us to our question of the show. Wanted to get your guys' predictions on who you think will make the Super Bowl and who's going to win it all. I'll go first. I think as far as the AFC, Kansas City by far looks like the best team because Mahomes or Patrick Mahomes. For short. And then you have the Seahawks, and I have the Seahawks winning it all over Kansas City. Ken, how about you?
I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go Rams versus Kansas City.
Oh.
I'm gonna go for it all, and then the Rams will persevere this time around.
Oh man, that is. I hope we're recording this. So,
prediction. But I mean, we got a great coach. So, I think that's that puts points on our backs. But I think there's also the experience factor. And the hard thing with last year too is with all the injuries, especially with all the receiver injuries, and then Todd Gurley, them being forced to play him because they were paying him so much. We don't have that problem anymore. There's 3. It's like a 3 running back system. So I think depending on the next couple games and how the group goes, the Rams are going to look good.
If you weren't picking an LA team, who would you pick?
I would go Seattle. Absolutely.
Have your ticket with me. You can coach me to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but man, that hurts. That hurts me just even saying that. So
you said it without hesitation, which I love. So
yeah, I'll make the risk of calling the Rams for making an actual pick to Seattle.
Yes. Okay, Zarita, how about you? What's your pick? Super Bowl.
So from the very limited football I watch and who my husband tells me to watch out for, I got to agree with you, Mike. Seahawks and Chiefs. We'll see. I think I'm just jumping on a winning team and hope it works out for me.
Wise choice. You never lose, right? Adian?
I hope it's the Packers versus the Bills, but that's highly unlikely.
That's less likely than my call take.
We are going to
that's very unlikely. I get that. But I'm going to go with an NFC, the Saints,
Okay.
And in the AFC, the Ravens. And the Ravens end up winning it all. I feel like Lamar Jackson's following Patrick Mahomes' career path. MVP in the second year, Super Bowl in the third year, big contract. It's all lining up for him.
Yeah, it is. So we are excited for the NFL season. We will see. Go Hawks, guys. So that's all we have for this week's edition of EBC Sports International. On behalf of everyone of our panel, thank you for joining us, and be sure to tune in next week. Make sure to visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/eaglenewsph to join the conversation. And remember to always strive to being the greatest version of yourself, especially during these times. For Eagle News, I'm Michael Hudson. We live in interesting times.